So let's go ahead and get started. Thank you everybody for attending today. And we have Juli James giving our Lunch and Learn class. So Juli is one of the co-founders of the EdTech technology Playable Media, and she's going to be talking to us today about building online classes and courses, and has a lot of great info to share. So Juli, I'll go ahead and let you take the floor.
Cool, thank you. Am I able to share screen?
Let me
sort of thing when I get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
I created some slides to keep me on track.
Perfect. My computer's a little slow these days.
That's okay.
It's working. Okay.
Cool.
You should be good.
Let's see. Let me get into presentation mode. Is it working?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Looks
cool.
Good.
So, hey everyone, it's great to be here this morning, and I'm gonna share on one of my favorite topics, which is creating courses and content and things like that, and why create online learning right now. But first I will tell you a little bit about myself. So I'm a former journalist turned educator, educational technologist, designer, and entrepreneur. So I am co-founder of the learning design firm Playable Media, and we started as a learning game design firm. So we've designed games and learning curriculum for clients like the Arizona State University News CoLab and the Earth Journalism Network, and we've done research projects in partnership with universities around games for health literacy and games for media literacy, and now we are focusing full court press on instructional design and course design for small businesses, independent businesses, entrepreneurs, and that sort of thing. So that brings me also to, we're passionate about empowering anyone who wants to be able to create a course for just about any reason to be able to do that and launch that online. So, but also I'd like to know a little bit about who is here. So if you would give a quick introduction of who you are, and if you already have a course idea that you came here with, I would love to know what that is as well. So, so can I turn it over to y'all for a minute? If you just unmute yourself quickly, and then we can go around and say who we are. So, so I wonder if I should call on people to keep it a little less
let's go ahead and do that.
How about that? Demi, you're right underneath me. So how about
Hi, good morning. I'm Demi Prentice. I am Bright Life Coaching. I do personal and professional development work specifically with entrepreneurs and nonprofit executive directors and employees.
Cool. And Madi, you're right underneath Demi.
So my name is Madi. I am the events and hospitality coordinator over at Stoke. So I'm your host today. It's nice to meet all of you, and I'm excited to learn more.
Cool. Heather?
I'm Heather. I'm the executive director, co-owner here at Stoke. And everything we do is online now. So just wanted to tune in.
Lacey?
Hello, I am also with Stoke. I am the marketing and member coordinator, and I always learn something from Juli, whether it's, side hustle versus sanity or creating online courses. And being who I am, I am now teaching 2 online courses this fall, so yay! I'm sure that I will grab a concept or a best practice from you today, so
cool. Cody? I see you. Cody actually works with me at Playable Media, so you're muted still.
Sorry. I'm Cody. I work with Juli, and I'm also a real estate agent, and I'm homeschooling my kids. So.
Cool. And then Brittany?
Hi, I'm Brittany. I just finished up 10 years as a classroom teacher, and I left because of safety reasons. So, and I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. So I'm kind of taking this chance to kind of do an idea I've had since 12 about imagination and teaching.
Cool. And Donna Lisa?
Hi, I'm Donalisa Stinyard. I'm with the Center for Women Entrepreneurs, and we're starting a student organization. And we also have some scholars, entrepreneurial scholars. So I'm always looking for alternative ways to give them some course. So I thought I'd jump on here and see what we've got.
Cool. Thanks for being here. Underneath her, I have D. If your initial is D on the screen.
Hi.
Yep, that's you.
Right. Dale,
Dale.
and I'm a book author. So that's my most recent project, and I was interested in doing a course about writing and how to get published, and also how to put your book on Amazon.
Awesome. Very cool. Donna?
Is my mic on? I guess it is. Okay.
Yes, I can hear you.
I just got in, so I'm not quite sure. I think you're talking about who are we? And
Yeah, just a quick introduction, Donna, and if you have a course idea, I would love to know.
Oh, I do have a course already, and it's the ABCs of an American accent. I teach accent reduction and American English pronunciation to non-native professionals, foreign professionals. Cool. And then the other one that I have is one called English for Interviews, which is a live course. It's a live webinar series that's just going to be like a supportive live calls. So those are the two that I've got. I've got part 1 and part 2 for the ABCs. I haven't finished part 2 yet, but I'm trying to, learn how to get more marketing, how to get more exposure, that kind of thing. Organize myself, maybe email marketing, funnels, those kinds of things. That's where I'm kind of stuck.
Okay. Sue?
Hi. Well, I'm from the UK, and I've got lots of teaching experience, and I'm currently creating a course online in making and stitch.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
And then I have one more person, and I don't have a name on your little window. So if you have not introduced yourself yet, would you jump in?
Hi,
Caroline.
Caroline.
Yeah, now I see it.
It's showing up, so I wasn't sure. Yeah. Hi, I'm Caroline. Until recently, I was a lead learning and development specialist for a professional services firm until COVID got me. So right now I'm exploring the opportunity because I've kind of always wanted to be an entrepreneur, and so I wanted to hop on and see what I could learn from here. So.
Cool. Thank you. All right. It's really cool to meet you all, and thank you all for being here today. And as Caroline just mentioned, one of the reasons why I really wanted to speak to this moment and empower others to be able to create online courses was because, COVID has dramatically changed business, and especially for small businesses, independent businesses, and entrepreneurs in the past 6 months. And so how we reach customers, how we train employees, and how we create opportunities for revenue have all changed dramatically this year. And for some of us, creating an online course can be an answer to a problem in this space. So, so I forgot to click all my nifty. This is what I get for using animations. I shouldn't have even done that, but here's my nifty animations that were supposed to be going with that. So it's COVID affecting business, but we can create online courses. So creating an online course isn't hard, right? It takes a little bit of time. You get some materials together, maybe make some content, and you can throw it up, right? But getting it wrong online is super easy. And so many of us have been subject to things like walls of text, unengaging long videos that we have no idea, why is this happening and what am I watching? Or even how long is this entire course going to take? Is this learning activity going to take? Like all of things happen to us and we are just stuck and wondering what's going to happen. And this disrupts what could be really valuable content for us, right? Like all of this sort of disrupts the learning process when it's happening. So that comes around to, yes, creating good online learning can be a challenge. There are platforms out there for good online learning. I threw together what I was sort of thinking of as sort of the big box or enterprise type solutions for online learning. A lot of these, and they're valuable spaces for particular kinds of learning, right? And, but for a small business or an entrepreneur, these kinds of spaces can become sort of prohibitive for us kind of quickly. It can be more expensive to get online. You have to share maybe more of the revenue. You're competing with a lot of people offering courses in a similar space. So I believe that you don't need those kinds of big box tools, and you don't need expensive solutions. You just need the right tools. And so there are plenty of examples of courses out there, and y'all gave some great examples of what you're thinking about or even already offering to your audiences. But some other examples are things like entrepreneurship for introverts, social media, content, marketing tools. There's courses out there for foodies, for life coaching, for business coaching, for exercise, right? Like I can go on and on and on and on. So, you know, so in addition to maybe what you came here with, you can think about even what other knowledge, what other skills, what other support can I share with a community, and is an online course perhaps the right format for that? So, but to get into the design of online courses specifically, which is what I love to talk about, one of the big principles that I start with and that we use at Playable Media to design is to design with the end in mind, right? And a lot of what I've learned about course design comes from game design, and game designers start with the end in mind. But before the player gets there, right? So like, where are we going? Before the player gets there, we start here. And as a designer or as a course designer, you're going to build each level or module or unit, each skill, each lesson, each challenge, each learning activity in support of the player arriving at the end eventually, right? We don't all win the game the first time around, but sometimes that's part of the learning, right? And in games, it's often always part of the learning. So that's my little spiel about games. I won't go too far into that, but that's one of the big concepts that it is. So when you are designing an online course, why are you designing that course, and what is the goal at the end? What do you want the learner to walk away with at the end of that course? And then sort of you can backfill the learning journey from there, and you tweak it and things, you know, get moved around. I'm all about the iterative design process, but I thought I would start with that and then sort of just take you through how I plan an online course when I'm getting started. So when I start planning my course, yes, I design with the end in mind. And the example I'm going to use today and some of the materials that I have for y'all to be able to use later center around an introduction to design course. So I teach design to just about anyone who wants to learn, but I teach design fairly regularly to journalism students at the University of North Texas. And so in my introduction course, you know, the main thing that I want my learners to walk away with is, you know, basic industry level design skills and a portfolio that is entry level that they can use to actually get a job, right? So everything that we do is going to be in service of them building those skills and walking away with a portfolio that they can send or share when they're looking for jobs. So with that in mind, I'll write that down, and I always start with a pen and paper. Like this is what my paper looks like. If you can see it for planning, I can't
Julie,
see me.
Your
Yeah.
slide deck is showing your prep things and not really showing the full slides. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Out of the way. It's like, thank you. I couldn't really see the slide.
Sorry.
Thanks.
But yes, so right, like, so here's what it looks like when I get started with course planning, and I might jot down some notes. I'll jot down like 50 ideas that I want to come back to, even though I might only use 5 in the end, right? And then I'm going to start, so I'm starting from there, and then I'm going to just gather stuff, right? So I have books on design. Which of those books or the magazines that I have really apply to introductory level design skills and maybe even a particular skill that I think I'm going to be teaching in my course. So I'll get that stuff together. Websites, right? Like tabs, you know, just where are there ideas for lessons? Where are there cool viewings that just, you know, would not be in service to that long clip that doesn't work really well for a course, but might really show somebody something nifty or illustrate a concept within 2 to 5 minutes, maybe less, right? And so I just start opening all those tabs. But then what happens, right? When I find those tabs and I find those videos and I want to share the good ones, I use a tool called Platstack. And it's kind of like Pinterest, right? Like you're just like, I can take, and the tabs that I have open, in fact, I created a Platstack for us today. Or your video faces are not showing right on my screen, but can you see the Platstack?
Yes.
Webpage? Okay, perfect. So this is a tool I use. It's free. Like I said, it's kind of like Pinterest. I mean, you can, if you have the Chrome extension for it, or perhaps, I don't know if they have Firefox or Safari extensions, but I imagine they might. In any case, like I open all my tabs. I don't even use my Chrome extension, because when I have a bunch of tabs open, it will show over here on the right. And in fact, let me open some tabs. YouTube and Canva, right? So if I have all of that stuff open, and then I navigate back to Platstack, it will start to show those, and I can just drag my tabs over, and that's how I create, you know, save all of that sort of brain dump. And within Platstack, you can kind of sort. So I'll sort readings, and I'll sort viewings, and I'll sort nifty ideas for later and stuff like that. And then when you come back to Platstack, you can click and literally open all the tabs, right? So here it says open all the links. So that's my favorite brain dump tool for just about everything. And I created this one for some of the tools and things that I was going to talk about today, so that I could share it with y'all, so you can come back to it in the future. But in any case, that's my getting started process. And then I have a course outline template, right? So then sort of what's the journey of this course going to be, as I've started to get this stuff to come together. And when I'm thinking about an introductory course, I'm thinking about, so I have a format that I always start. So what do the students need to know first, right? Like we'll have a start here module, and then we'll have an introduction to design module. And then, so modules are kind of like the units of a course or the weeks of a course, depending on, you know, how you've put it together. And this course outline template is very similar to a syllabus that anybody might have interacted with when y'all were in school, right? So, so this is what my course outline template looks like. And it's going to give me some things as I'm thinking through this that I will be able to use when I'm going to come back and create content later, right? But this is also available to you to make a copy of, and, you know, start putting your ideas onto paper for courses that you might want to design. So one of the things I make sure to think about is, how is this course going to be delivered, right? Is it going to be all in person? Am I going to do a webinar? Am I going to do a series of those live teaching sessions online? Sometimes, not maybe right now, but sometimes we might be thinking about a classroom and online connection. And often what we're thinking about is that asynchronous connection. Like this course is going to be something that sort of delivers itself with the support of me as the instructor or learning coach, right? That kind of thing, so that a learner can access the content sort of on their time, on their terms, but not alone. I'm going to be there for them as part of the learning journey. So this course is an example of a combination of those things, but it's important for me to think about those things because it's going to affect the kind of content that I'm going to create, the structure, the learning activities and stuff like that. And then I break down those goals into specific objectives. So specifically in my course, a learner can expect that they will learn and apply the basic concepts of visual design, design and create a brand guide, create vector, raster, and video products, right? Like all of these things are real specific takeaways that are in service to the main goal of my course. But these two things are important also because a learner might have decided to sign up for a course that ends up being something other than what they thought they were getting. And then they can look at these things and say, oh, okay, so this is not all video design, right? And I'm going to know that fairly quickly and be able to decide, do I want to continue or not, or is this interesting, or is this exactly what I was looking for? And so I know that at the end of the course, I'm going to walk away with these specific outcomes. So, so I try to write those learning objectives as really concrete. And a lot of times these learning objectives can turn into your modules, right? So often this course is a full semester long, so it's 15 weeks long. So I dialed it back for this example. For an online course, you're probably looking at, if you want your learner, say, to be going through something between 2 to 4, maybe 5 hours, right? I mean, just as a baseline for what people can expect, then you're going to look at 2 to 5 modules, right? And within those modules, you're going to have, say, 1 to 4 lessons, 1 to 5 lessons, real specific chunks so that they can break it up and know what to expect, basically. I always put sort of the estimated time with my modules once things have started to come together, and then the estimated time of the course overall. So then we're not like that gift from the Titanic where it's been 84 years since I started this course and I have no idea where I'm going, right? That's really important, I think, especially in this kind of course offering and this kind of online learning. So, and then you can see, right, so then I always start with a Start Here module. My Start Here module always includes just something about online learning, right? And this I think is important because what happens when we have been learning, many of us, right, we learned for a good 12 years of our lives, give or take, right? We sat in a classroom, we got content from a teacher, we worked with others. This is what we can expect from learning. But we haven't often been talked to about what is learning, why are we doing it? What does it mean to us personally? And especially, right, then we land in college or beyond, and especially today and this year, where now we're learning online. So what does that even mean? If we're used to learning this way, and we have our expectations set up this way, then going through a course this way can feel really different. So what are the skills that we have to build? What can we expect? And how are we going to apply ourselves when we're interacting with this stuff? So I do a really quick overview, and I'm happy to share and talk to y'all about that more offline if you want to know like the kinds of things that I share with students. So, and then sort of an overview, right? Like what's this course going to be? If I'm going to break down those learning objectives, what are the tools that we're going to use, right? So when I'm talking about, like, this doesn't have to mean anything to you right now, but when I'm talking about vector, raster, and video products, right? The tools that I'm going to introduce in that Start Here module are going to be specific software that the learners are going to use in service of understanding what those kinds of products are going to be, right? And so if your course is on teaching buyers what they need to know about real estate, I'm going to pick on Cody a little bit because I know her, right? So there might be specific lingo, right? Like key terminology that you're going to want to understand. Something as simple as how to sign DocuSign documents, right? That could be something that a buyer has never done before because they are used to going into an agent's office and signing papers. But today it may not look like that, right? So, so those are the kinds of things that Cody might put in an introductory module, is just like, we're going to learn about these tools and these processes, right? And then what's a learning activity? So for my Start Here module, the learning activity is literally going through the Start Here module, because then the learner has been introduced to how the rest of the course is going to flow. So if they have trouble navigating the stuff there, that's the time to address that. So they can get in touch with me and we can talk about that and figure out what might be going on and troubleshoot right from the start. And then it just breaks down into the rest of the modules. And so as I'm going through, I'm putting modules down, like the introduction to design, the design essentials, the vector images, right? And then I might start rearranging things as I go along, you know? So it might have been that, well, in fact, in this course, right, in this design, the design essentials right here had come before intro to design when I started. And then I thought, oh, as I'm thinking through the flow of that, it doesn't make sense. So you're going to do that with your modules and even with your lessons sometimes. And then I have decided, right, for my online format, the way that I like to create things is to always have a viewing or slideshow, maybe both, readings in support of the concept, and a learning activity, right? So then, again, every single time the learner interacts with that, they're getting the exact same thing. It's very predictable. And so this helps like dissipate the noise in online learning. I'm going to have this predictability every single module, every single lesson, and that's super helpful. Now, I have made the mistake because I love new shiny things and playing with technology. I would start a course and decide, oh, we'll use this format for this one. And then in the next module, we'll do this thing. It's going to be completely different and it's going to be so snazzy. And it really might be, but it's a terrible way to design a course, right? If I'm going to use the new snazzy thing, I'm going to want to have tested it on people, and I'm going to want to have that snazzy format probably for my entire course, rather than changing it up, because then it'll be more interesting for people. People are not me. The people I'm teaching don't want every module to be different, right? Like that kind of thing. So that's why that's kind of important when you're creating online learning, because then it just helps everybody get settled into, especially if they're not familiar with online learning, a predictable process for the content and the skills that they're trying to acquire. Then from there, right, say I have that, design, right? Like this sort of idea for how these few modules are going to flow. You can start with 1 or 2 and then, you know, produce some content. And that's really sort of in service of a like rapid prototyping process where you can test some things very early and see what happens with learners and get some feedback before you fill out the whole course. Or you can go all the way through and just say, okay, well, I still really want to have sort of how this flow is going to go in my mind, even if I know, right, this is a living document and a living design, and I may rearrange it over time. Okay, so I think I went over that stuff, and to think about the formats that you're going to use. Oh, and then, okay, so we'll get to this in a minute, but where will the course live? How will it be delivered? That also goes back to a little bit of the design with an end in mind, but that's more on the technical side, right? You want to be able to design your content to be adaptable. You might switch platforms, you might use different platforms to reach different audiences. But you do kind of want to know how those platforms behave, the ways that content lives in those platforms. Is it, you know, will your videos be hosted, or will you have to find a place to host your videos? Things like that. And so it's important to think about where the course will live later. And we'll go over some platforms, and I'll talk to you about the platform that I use and that Playable Media uses when we design for clients. At least it's our starting recommended platform. We can design on a couple of different kinds of platforms. But in any case, from the course outline, then I break up those units and those lessons that I've outlined into lesson plans. And so here's the lesson plan template that I created. And I didn't really have time to mod my like intensive 16-week university kind of style, but I wanted to show you, and you can use this. In fact, we could go with sort of, right, like if this was it's, you know, remembering your course and using this plan, and this plan is also going to help you deliver each module, but also understand what is it that I need to produce each of these modules and each of these lessons. So if I'm starting with the Start Here module, and the lesson is online learning, right? Then the overview might be, you know, helping learners transfer the skills that they already have, learning skills that they already have, into an online learning context, right? So that could be the overview. Then the learning objectives might be, you know, what do you need to do in, in preparation for an online course? People don't always think about getting a good night's sleep and drinking some water before you start, right? Those are little things that you can do that are going to make your online learning experience better. Having a snack, making sure to take breaks, not expecting to get yourself all the way through an entire module. You can do this one lesson at a time. Little things like that could be the objective. So then the key takeaways are, I might want learners to reflect on their learning preferences and the things that maybe they don't often think about, like maybe I don't always get a good night's sleep, so do I want to maybe add to my hours or something like that? Or what time of day, if I'm not even thinking about my sleep, because that's a whole subject in and of itself, but what time of day might be better for me? So just to get learners set up and what are their takeaways that they want to, that I want them to walk away with. So it might be something like understanding the best time of day for me to take this course, and the key takeaway will be deciding what time of day you might want to start with your learning. If there's readings, if there's a slideshow, it's often me. I will create a viewing that would be me just talking about these things and why I think they're important for online learning. And so then here in the outline, I might make a little outline script for what I want in that video, what I need to produce it, what I want it to look like, some different things like that. And then again, that learning activity might be just the learner writing down in their notes what time of day they want to start practicing, getting online with the course, right? Stuff like that. And so then if I do this for all my lessons in a module, when I go back to create the content, I've almost got it sitting there for me, right? It can all but produce itself. I'm going to have to shoot the video. I'm going to have to make the slides. I'm going to have to go back to my Plat stack and pull those links that I want them to read, right? But it makes it so much easier than if I am looking at my course outline and trying to produce each individual unit. So this is a process that I use. And then where are we at? Oh, and then platforms for course delivery. If you have a website, you can put up some pages and start your course, right? It might be that you password protect that and get some early learners that are willing to test your course. And then if you're going to sell it, it can be something where when you get an email and do a transaction, you then send them the link, that secret link to the course. It can be that simple. At Playable Media, we use a platform called MemberVault. And I like MemberVault because it lets you get started nearly fully featured, I think fully featured for free for up to 100 learners. And then from there you can do like a monthly plan, they have a lifetime plan and all of that kind of stuff. But you can go on, and there's no fees for transaction except for what the platforms you use for your transactions to start with. So you can go on 100 learners for a really long time. And get a lot of feedback about your course, and you can add multiple courses and all of that kind of thing. So we really like MemberVault, and these slides will be available for y'all, so you can click the links to each site. There's another site or another learning management system, which is sort of ed speak for a course delivery platform, called Moodle. And it's one of those, it's kind of like a WordPress solution. Either you can purchase hosting for your Moodle, or you can self-host your Moodle. And again, we can have a whole session. In fact, I think we have a session on platforms in the next month or two where I will go through like, what does all this mean? What are the features and what might be right for your course? But I wanted to put these out there if y'all wanted to jump in before then and kind of look at what all of these solutions are. And I'm happy to talk to you between now and then if you have some ideas or questions about what might work well for you. Again, there's WordPress, and for many of us, our site's already on WordPress, so it might really make a lot of sense to use a course delivery platform that's a WordPress plugin. LearnDash is one that I have used. is an annual license platform or plugin, there are a lot of free learning management plugins for WordPress. And again, I'm happy to talk through some of those for you. I have a little bit more experience with those. I don't have any experience with Drupal learning management systems or anything like that. But in terms of features and what you're looking for and what would work well for you, I'm happy to talk about those things. In fact, I want to all day long. So, so you can't possibly be bugging me because other people in my life don't want to. So, so please come talk to me about this stuff. And then a couple of the other, so Moodle and WordPress, the reason why I sort of separated them is they're a lot more, you need to be hands-on with not just the course and content development, but with the overall setup of the platform and all of that. MemberVault is one of those sort of, you plug it in and there's very minimal platform besides the initial setup, like branding it and setting up your colors and all of that kind of stuff. So MemberVault is very much an easy sort of plug and play kind of thing. And most of these other options under the higher cost section, Thinkific, Teachable, Podia. A Kajabi is like a full service from start to finish, your website, your email marketing, your like all of these things. It's more expensive per month than the other options I have on here. It is people who are on it rave about it, but it's a particular solution for a particular need. Podia, Teachable, and Thinkific, they don't all have free tiers. They all have free trials. I think Thinkific has a free tier, but then Teachable and Podia go from free trial to like a monthly cost, but they're comparable and they just offer different features. So those are the platforms for delivery. And in my Plat stack, I have things like nifty tools that you might want, right? So when I'm doing my course development or content production, I use a ring light. I'm using it right now for a little bit of extra light. I use they call it a lav mic, a lapel mic. I'll click on this link, right? For audio. They're not expensive. You don't need them to get started, but you do kind of want to make sure. My sound studio is my master closet because all the clothes hanging up are, create a really good sound dampening, like sort of hacker level audio booth. And you can totally record great audio inside a closet like that. You might not want to record your face inside a closet like that, but face is not always required. So, or you can use this lapel mic and it'll give you great audio. What else is there? Where are you going to host your videos? Not all of the platform solutions offer hosting. So things like, do you have a YouTube channel? Is that what you want? Do you use a Vimeo? You can also host your videos in Google Drive or Dropbox. Stuff like that. What's another, are there any other tools? Screencastify is what I use to screen capture. I guess it doesn't have the image here, but a lot of times because what I'm teaching are technical skills with a software, then it screen captures my my screen, and it also gives me options like, do I want to black out the screen except for something that I am clicking on? Do I just want to use a call out when I click on a thing or point to a tool, like that kind of stuff? So there are plenty of screencasting softwares out there, but that's one that I happen to use. And then I love this, it's called the plot.io when I storyboard my videos, and kind of what happens is I can just make a plan for what I want each scene to be. And then I can type out sort of a script or an outline. In the end with Storyboard, I can export that script and start producing my video. So I really love that tool for that. And we'll have, so we have the session coming up on platforms. We have a session coming up on content creation, and I can go more in depth with these things. But that's basically the high level dump of getting started with creating online courses and my process for doing that. So I would love to just kind of open it up to questions now, and be able to just talk about things and see what other tips and tricks I can give you today. So.
You want me to end your screen share?
Oh yeah, let's do that.
Okay. There we go.
Here we are.
Maybe this was answered earlier, but will we get the slides? Because I was writing as fast as I could, but I don't think I caught everything.
Absolutely. I created a little Drive folder to share. I'll give Madi all the links to that and the Plat Stack that have the slides, the 2 templates, and then the Plat Stack has the links to some of those recommended, my recommended tools that I use.
Anyone have any questions to start off? I'll go first if no one has anything right now.
Break the ice for us.
So this is a very specific question, and if anyone has the answer to it, that'd be great. My dad is a high school Spanish teacher, and he's struggling finding ways to keep that interactive teaching element online. So the closest I can figure out for him is the Zoom breakout rooms, but then he can't be in all of them at once, kind of a thing. So does anyone have, or Julie, does anything come to mind? Any platforms that kind of accommodate that?
Flipgrid. Flipgrid. I used Flipgrid for a summer class I had in replacement for discussion boards. Because to be honest with you, as great as discussion boards are, I don't really like grading discussion boards. I think the interaction is super forced and it's not personal. So something like Flipgrid would let me post our discussion boards as an audio prompt, a video prompt, because I don't mind using video, but students can respond in without, as long as they can do audio. But in any case, that sounds like it might work really well for a Spanish class, right? So I would post a video prompt to talk about game design. It was the game design class that I was teaching this summer. And so I would just, when we started, it was just kind of like, what games have you played your whole life? Why do you like them? And then students just respond with their videos and they can interact with each other. I can leave them group feedback and I can leave them personal feedback, all via video. It worked really well.
I'll be sure to tell him about that.
And depending on what platform he's teaching on, it plugs into a lot of teaching platforms. So it let me generate Canvas assignments. I use Canvas at work. So it let me generate those assignments already. So then I could post that stuff. But then, as teachers, the other thing that can be challenging for us is connecting the nifty tool we're using to our grading system. And Flipgrid played really well with that. So
awesome. Thank you.
I have a Flipgrid question.
Sure.
Are you able to kind of like vet what the students post in terms of videos before it officially is shared with everyone? Awesome.
Yes.
Okay.
You can moderate and do that. I didn't even know that when I used it. It worked really well for my class. Some of that is a matter of setting expectations early, but you could totally not know. Like people can come up with anything.
Right.
And yes, you can moderate the videos before they end up getting posted.
Awesome. I too dislike grading discussion boards, but it's part of, what we have to do. So great. Flipgrid. Thank you.
Yes. Any other questions? I have a question for those of you that have produced and are doing online courses right now. What platform are you using? Like, what tools do you use for your stuff?
I'm forced to use eCampus or Blackboard. So for Dallas community colleges, they haven't switched to Canvas. And so I think and just, I'm sure you're familiar with the Blackboard discussion board, just like interface, and it's blah, it's just not fun. So yeah, I look forward to kind of integrating Flipgrid and trying to make online learning more of like a community, because it's so different from teaching face-to-face, and students often don't reach out much or just reach out through messaging on eCampus and email and comments, and so it's hard to find, or you lose things and you're like, I didn't check there, I'm sorry. Please email me. Or yeah. So yeah, eCampus.
A new tool that I am looking at for assessments, right? And if you teach in K-12 or higher ed, assessing student learning is like a big thing. It looks like it might be sort of the Flipgrid of assessments. It does a few more things, but it's called Spiral. And there are a couple of different ways that you can set up assessments in Spiral. And so I only just came across this, so it's not a full-on endorsement. It's a nifty tool that I'm not going to use this semester because that's the kind of thing I do to get myself in trouble, but I'm looking into it. It looks really promising. So there's another one.
Cool.
What other platforms do any of you guys use for your courses?
So I know the one I'm teaching here is the freshman UNIV course. I think they all have to take it, and they're using the Flipgrid. So I haven't, I have to go in there and create my own account, so that'll be fun.
It is pretty fun. I had a good experience with it, but I'm going to add the caveat to that was I got to try it out really full in effect with 10 students in a summer class. So this semester I have a full 100 students across classes, and so this will be my bigger rollout. I'll keep you posted.
So can I ask you a question about it? I don't really, so is it Flipgrid is a platform, and then I create an account, and then they all link to my account. Is that how that works? And then they create a video inside of that. I'm not sure how it works.
Kind of. You create an account and that's you. But as the instructor, you can also create sort of like groups that would be like your individual classes. And inside those groups, you'd have like the topics, the discussion topics. So the students will join the classes. Because I use Canvas, once I connect my new course with Flipgrid, as soon as I generate an assignment, it generates that group and then adds it as a topic.
So you have to teach an old dog new tricks, I guess.
It's my favorite. I love teaching stuff and technology stuff. So.
I use Flipgrid. I taught art the year before last, and I used Flipgrid with middle school, worked really well with middle school.
Cool. Because
they got to re-edit themselves over and over to pick their best. And it was really good, just like public speaking practice and that kind of thing. And it's really good for like special education students, because if they're constantly having to write their responses, that gets a little bit daunting. So it gives them kind of that option. But then those that are a little nervous to film, especially like in high school, that's just a little bit of a teachable moment, I guess. I had a student this summer that I could tell from the beginning to the end that she was a little nervous about this format. By the end, she was fine, and it was sort of a cool thing to watch. You know, connecting online and how we do that is an important skill, and more often it's going to be video versus audio. You know, as a journalism instructor, writing and reporting are very important and are not going away. But also, right, when we reach our audiences, we might be writing scripts, but we might be presenting video information. So,
I've been using Rizuku.
Rizuku, I've not heard of this one.
It's very much a content-based platform, and you can host your videos and your courses. It helps collect with either Stripe or PayPal. And what I took a course on it, and it took me a couple of years to actually finally get my course done. But what I found out is you can make an appointment and someone will walk you through the problem you're having. So their customer service is like excellent. It costs something, but they don't take any percentage of your clients or of your courses. So it's like depending on what level you get into, but I just liked it because of the personal, you know, customer support that they provide.
I like Seesaw for younger learners too, because you can connect parents, and it's kind of like a growing portfolio where you can, they can actually post their own work on there. So that's for the, I guess I would say 1st through Actually, I know at the district I was at, kindergarten would use it a lot because they could go on and they could take the iPad and they could post the work they've done, and then their parents could see it and that kind of thing. So I wouldn't really recommend Seesaw for upper, but.
But I know a lot of, primary, especially lower grade primary teachers are looking for those kinds of solutions that will work for the young learners. So that's pretty cool. Anyone else have a different platform they've used or a different tool that they've used?
Anyone else have any questions? Maybe not regarding different platforms?
Ask me anything.
I have a question.
Sure.
How do you turn, because what I have is an 8-week course that has lessons that drip out Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then there's a live webinar on Sunday for review. But I'm trying to figure out how to turn this into an evergreen course so that I can, I can do a self-study version, but I want to see how can I continue to get people in, and maybe it's my mindset that thinks it has to be a cohort course that everybody has to start at the same time. So do you have any suggestions on that?
I would say try it, and do sort of maybe a VIP session and see however many learners you think it would take for you to get a good amount of feedback, and do, if it's 25, if it's 50, if it's 5, try it the other way. Record those review sessions as just you, reviewing the important topics based on the fact that you've done this enough that you know what common questions come up.
Okay.
Things like that.
Because I've started doing it where I'm doing like a summary of the lessons and doing that as a video. So it's just a review of the summary. And I have asked my students, are the live webinars that important? And the ones who attend them say they are.
Right.
But there's many of them that take the course that never come to the live webinar. So it's like, okay.
It sounds to me like an opportunity to do it 2 ways, and then, open up that revenue stream for somebody who is just looking for that you just can market to those people for that.
Well, I was thinking like a self-study course is one version, and then the version with the live webinars is another paid version. So,
and then do you have a learning community as well?
I haven't really started that, but I do a once a month, like free, coaching session so that they can come in and sign up for that.
So I'm wondering, a lot of course creators use a Facebook group. Some also use like a Slack group, but then if they have questions spontaneously, you can jump in, but they can also be answering each other's questions, right? You can have alum in your courses that might still want to really be engaged in the content and helping each other. And then you're building a community where perhaps there's going to be referrals as well, even more.
Yeah, it's putting all the pieces together. It's the marketing and the funnels and the templates and that kind of thing that is beginning. I've got another launch starting September 14th. So trying to get all these, each time I do it, I get a couple more pieces done and get other ideas. So it's been, I have to say, you've given a great presentation, because the organization part can be really overwhelming. All the pieces that go into the puzzle.
I'm really hoping that as Playable Media, we'll be able to offer this as sort of your getting started and rinse and repeat kind of format. So to have that feedback is great. Any other feedback as y'all go through, if you use the tools, if you end up not using the tools, like I would love to know those things. So
you said you would be open to conversation or emails or whatever, but I don't remember. I've gone to so many webinars lately that I can't remember which one I've gotten what from.
It has all my contact information. The slides also have my email, but it's Juli, Juli, at playablemedia.io. Let me put that in the chat here.
I'm already writing it. You're good.
And then, I have to look up my office number, but you can text me anytime. Let me find it.
And are you in Denton? Where are you, Julie?
My business is based in Denton out of Stoke. I actually live in Keller. So if you're anywhere between here and there.
Well, I got my MFA at at Texas Women. So
Okay.
I saw that
Okay.
noticed. I'm thinking, oh wow, I didn't. That's kind of cool. It's been many years ago, but yeah. Ever Bright. Okay.
Julie, I've got another question, a different one. Will you cover any point how to film practical activities, which is I haven't done so far? So yes, video yourself talking and in the cupboard, but if you want to have yourself talking and you also want to show something with your hands, how to set that up to get the best effect, you know, practically as well when writing.
Right
I would
now,
really appreciate that.
off the top
Thank
of my head, the ring light that I have, which there's a link to, and these are not super duper expensive, but I'll show you. The ring light that I have will let me sort of put the light like this so I can film down onto a table while I'm using my hands for something. So I use that for if I'm happen to be teaching game design and we're starting with tabletop design and I'm putting something together on the table, which would probably work really well for like making, you know, stitching, crochet, knitting, that kind of stuff. But that ring light also has a adapter where it will hold my phone right in the middle of it. So I can just shoot that whole thing. It's well lit, and then go back and sort of edit out from that.
But you can't see what you're filming, I guess.
Well, I suppose that depends on, this is just, I have no idea. I suppose that depends on how you do your camera, right? So if you have the screen available to you while you're shooting, you could see a little bit, right? Versus if you were shooting like that with your front camera. But I don't know for sure. I haven't tried that one. But yeah, that's kind of the way I would do it. And here is the phone number. Oops. Just it to everyone. There you go. Oops, that's supposed to say 940, not 904. 268-1353. And then, oh, Maudie posted my email.
Awesome. Anyone have any more questions or comments?
And did you say you are doing some other programs? Will those be on Eventbrite, or how do we find them?
Stoke will be sending that out in their newsletters.
It'll be the same format as this one was. It'll just be for September and October. So we can do platforms, content creation, and then I hadn't even gotten that far to marketing, but that's a whole session in and of itself. So I'll talk to them about if we can get that one scheduled as well.
Please, please.
Yeah.
I think part of it is the automated emails, how to set up these automated emails and the funnel for like the text that needs to go into them. To get people in, and then I don't know, I listen to a lot of podcasts to try to pick up all these different tips. One of the ones I found that's really good is the Online Course Guy, which is Jacques Hopkins. And he has a course that on piano, but he also teaches course creators.
Okay.
Different tips and interviews with people. And that's what got me inspired to hear how much money some of these people were making on their online courses. It's just, I haven't gotten that list yet, that 10,000 a month yet, but I sure want it.
Yes, absolutely. We can get there by what, December?
Oh
with a series of webinars.
Well, I was doing great last year, and then COVID, I mean, it's kind of, my clients are all foreign professionals. So many of them are out of work right now. So I've created a course now called English for Interviews. Right. Because so many of them have a trouble with speaking English during the interview. So I'm trying to feel the need that's there. But it keeps you guessing. Once you finally get some of the technology down, it gets a lot easier. I have no problems posting videos to YouTube now.
With that in mind, I encourage you guys to check out Stoke's YouTube channel. We have past lunch and learns and coffee and convos recorded. I think Lacey just put the web address in the chat. So you might find something there as well that is information you've been looking for.
Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, you guys, it's 11:01. I just have a couple of announcements before we go. For the Dentonites in the Zoom call, we have some exciting things happening. I know y'all probably saw what Heather put in the chat at the beginning of the meeting. We just started an incubator program with Texas Women's University. So if you or someone you know is a woman entrepreneur and you have an idea, apply. We also have Big Ideas, a creative mixer happening later in September. It'll be virtual. But if you or someone you know has a vision for Denton, an idea, a change you want to see being made, apply. Yeah, and that's it from me.
Cool. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for being here. And thank you, Madi, for the opportunity with Stoke. That's my favorite place.
Yes.
Let's all bombard them with applications for the accelerator program.
Please do.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Julie, and thank you everybody for attending.
Bye. Have a great day.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.